Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of the Premier Perspective. My name is Xavi Pazmino, and today I am joined by the great Ryan Kalin. We're really looking forward to starting this project. We're going to be an American perspective to the English Premier League, an overseas perspective, something that is not necessarily seen that often, but our voices are heard, want to be heard. We want to everyone to hear what we think about the Premier League, which is a league that me and Ryan both love. So yeah,
All right, so our first segment of the show is going to be match previews of all the matches this week, with the match of the week being Tottenham versus Manchester City. It's going to be a big one, but first we'll get into Newcastle versus Chelsea. Newcastle, the home team, with Chelsea being the away team. Some things to note: Chelsea are in great form right now. They have no losses in their last 5 games, but Pulisic, Thiago Silva, and Havertz are all out, which could prove to be an issue.
yeah, definitely could be an issue for Chelsea. I think Thiago Silva being injured is the biggest impact there. Pulisic has been out pretty much most of the season. He's been dealing with injuries, and Havertz hasn't really been in the best form since joining Chelsea in the big summer move. But Thiago Silva has been a rock in the defense for Chelsea since joining this summer from PSG. I think they'll definitely miss him in the back, but I think that Chelsea will still be able to clutch a victory and take the 3 points home.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. Like Havertz, you said he hasn't really done much. Same with Timo Werner, both coming from Leipzig, both being talented players. They surprisingly haven't done too much, and Thiago Silva has been amazing. Pulisic, as Americans, it is upsetting to see him being injured so much, especially considering that he was going to be that American wonder kid that was going to be the star on a global level. And he has the potential to, but as injuries just keep coming at him when he's so young, it doesn't look so good for now. But hopefully he'll be back soon, come back stronger, and prove to be a great player.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a concerning side if you're Frank Lampard and Chelsea, seeing how much Christian Pulisic has been getting injured. But Chelsea has a strong squad, so I think in a game like this against Newcastle, they'll be able to pull it through and take the points home. And the next game we have here is Aston Villa versus Brighton. Aston Villa, pretty much you could say the story of the Premier League so far, with their crazy 7-2 victory over Liverpool a couple weeks back. No, I don't think anyone saw that. And here at Premier Perspective, every week we're gonna have is what me and Ryan are gonna do. We're gonna do three impact players, three players who we think are gonna have the biggest impact this week. And our first one goes to Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish, who just made his debut with England, has been phenomenal so far this season. I think he's been the glue of Aston Villa and what they've been able to do. Him and Ollie Watkins have been amazing. Brighton's been not so great. They've been underperforming. Nothing really too fascinating from them so far. Aston Villa at home in great form. I think this is 3 points to Villa.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Brighton's been despite their place in the table, which is pretty low, if I remember correctly. They've had good games. They've played good games. That one right wing back. Do you remember his name? I
Oh,
forgot his.
yes, Lamptey. Lamptey.
Yeah, he's played phenomenally.
Yeah, he's great.
He's really talented, but unfortunately Brighton hasn't been able to put it together. But Aston Villa, um, some moments are not the greatest, and some moments you see, oh, that's Aston Villa. But so far we haven't really seen it, especially 7-2 over Liverpool. That was a crazy game. 3-0 over
Yeah,
Arsenal last weekend or a couple weekends ago. In my opinion, Arsenal played really bad that game. That first
yeah,
goal,
they definitely did. Yeah.
just wouldn't just wouldn't really defend them. But definitely 3 points to Aston Villa on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And talking about form, someone who's been inconsistent is our next team here. Our next game that we're going to be following is Manchester United versus West Brom. Manchester United, you never really know what you're going to get out of them. You really never know what you're going to get out of them. What I like to say is that which United will show up. Well, the Prem United, which
For
so
sure.
far this year has been inconsistent, or UCL United, who defeated Paris and destroyed Leipzig. So I think it would be interesting to see how United performs, but at home versus West Brom, who have had a hard time since coming back up to the Premier League, I'm gonna give 3 points to United here.
Yeah, I would too. As much as inconsistency will show here, I mean, I'm sure they'll pull through against West Brom. There's some times where you wouldn't be so sure, especially with that loss against Istanbul, they was terribly played. But then, like you said, they'll have the games against PSG and Leipzig, which they played really well and they connect. And when they connect, United are an amazing team, but the inconsistency is what kills them. And I almost feel like you should tell him that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to get sacked every time because
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
every time he's about to get fired, he pulls one out. I don't know how they do it. I don't
yeah,
know what's
and
behind, the force behind that.
what I think really has been the issue with Manchester United is that they don't necessarily have an identity. Um, there's nothing that really you could say right now that it's, oh, this is the way United plays, like this is their style of play. And I think that has a lot to do with the coach. I think the coach hasn't really done too much since being in charge, since he got that full contract. And
Mhm.
if performances keep going on the way that they are right now, inconsistency, I don't really know how long all will last. But in terms of this weekend, I think that being at home against a team that hasn't really played well at all, who hasn't won a game yet in the Premier League, I think United will be able to grab 3 points here.
Yeah, for sure. It looks pretty safe for them. I would hope so. So the next game we're going to get into is Fulham versus Everton. Everton started very impressive, and everybody was like, "Oh wow, this is the Everton we've been looking at, the Everton we've been waiting for." But in the back of your mind, you knew how long could they keep up
Yeah,
the act, and they were playing well, but with so many new signings, with a completely new midfield three, a strong midfield three at that, with Ducore, James, and Allen, which was an insane signing, an insane group of signings for them. They dipped after that great start. And now, who do you think is going to step up to change this dip in their form?
in a game against Fulham, another newly promoted team, someone who just came up from the Premier League who hasn't necessarily done too well. I think the two main factors are Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin was off to a great start scoring goals. Right now, he's tied first top goal scorer. I think it's really important for him to have a good performance against Fulham to bring Everton back to the form they need to be in. And for me, our second impact player of the week will be Richarlison. He just scored last night. Oh well, this was today is Thursday. Or no, wait, today's Wednesday that we're recording. So yesterday on Tuesday, Richarlison scored a goal for Brazil. And I think coming off suspension from his red card against Liverpool a couple weeks back, I think we'll be looking at a really big performance from him against Fulham. I think he'll be able to lead the way, take charge, and help Everton get these 3 points.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair to say. Richarlison, very talented player, can be a bit of a hothead at
Yeah,
times, which you saw was a downfall for him in that red card a couple weeks ago. But I think he could definitely step up in this game against Fulham, who hasn't been doing too well. Missed the penalty right at the end of that game to pick up the point, which is a terrible penalty, a terrible go at it,
such a
especially
terrible
considering
penalty.
the point in the game they were at to lose and to take a penalty like that.
Yeah,
I personally wouldn't do it. It was a choice, but
yeah, no,
got to move on from it against Everton, who are a tough team, even though they've been dipping in form.
yeah. So I think just to go back, that Lookman penalty. Um,
It was
I
uh,
understand feel the need to be cheeky at the moment, but when you're in the 98th minute and your team is struggling to pick up points, a 1 point there would be amazing for them. And the fact that he took the ball off their actual penalty taker and then did that, uh,
I would be absolutely
I'd be livid.
furious.
Yeah, I know. In the
I
locker
would
room, they were probably.
Oh, in the
They
locker
were
room,
probably
for
going at
sure.
him, yeah, for sure.
I probably would have been so I would have been so upset at that. And the like, I understand. Like, I mean, I can see the, like you said, be cheeky, go for the chip, right at the end of the game. But even the chip was bad. It
Yeah, the
was
chip was bad. Like,
like the
yeah, he
chip
tried to Panenka, but it was a terrible chip. I think maybe he hit the ground when he was kicking. I don't know. It was an awful chip.
like you hate to see it go like that.
Yeah,
You would hate to be that person to
yeah.
miss
I watched it and I felt bad for him. Like I felt bad that that happened
right.
to him.
So, you got to make better decisions there.
Yeah, for sure. And moving on to our next game, we're gonna have Sheffield versus West Ham. West Ham. I feel like West Ham's. You never know what you're gonna get from them.
Hmm.
You can get absolutely awful performance, or you can get a performance like they did a couple weeks back versus Tottenham, where they were 3-0 down, came back
Good.
to tie the game with that
That was
Lanzini
that was absolutely insane. I was
banger.
screaming.
So I think it really depends what West Ham you're gonna get, but I think you can say that against Sheffield United, I think West Ham can take 3 points here. I think you could say Sheffield is the disappointment of the season. Coming up to the Prem last year, they shocked everyone with how well they played, but this year they've been awful. They're dead last in the table. They haven't won a game yet. Yeah, so they're super underwhelming. So I think West Ham should have no problem taking the 3 points here, even though they're away.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Sheffield after like, the a stunner of a season, a great season coming up from the championship, playing really well, getting some results against good teams. I think one huge factor in their, you could say, failure so far this season is Dean Henderson not being with them as he was on loan from United. I'm sure we'll get to it. Well, we talked about United before, but um, I don't know how much they've been relying on De Gea and how heavily they do, but he's kind of on a little bit of a downturn, and I personally would put some more faith in Dean Henderson because he's a talented kid. I think he's 23 years old. He's pretty young, and he's got plenty of time in the Premier League, and I think plenty of time as England's number one as well. And De Gea, obviously, we know that De Gea is an amazing keeper, but um, just the some of the shots that he fails to save, or
Yeah,
you know, and then he does, and you see why he was so great. But I think they should have put more faith in Dean Henderson. Sheffield obviously not got lucky, but they I mean, I guess you could say actually got lucky by getting him on loan that season. I think that was a huge hand in their success. Obviously, you can't put all their success
hmm
on a goalkeeper, but yeah, this season definitely extremely underwhelming.
yeah. So it's gonna be a journey to see if they're able to turn it around. Because if nothing changes from here, I think you could say that Sheffield could be a lock to get relegated. And speaking of a team, another team that just came from the championship, we have Leeds United, who's playing Arsenal this weekend. I think this is going to be a great game to watch. Not the best game to watch this week because there's so many good games this week, but I think it's going to be a great game to watch. Leeds have been fun to watch. I think they're the fun team of the Premier League. Um, Even
Hmm.
if they're not necessarily winning the games, you know you're going to get a good game out of them. Patrick Bamford, their striker, has been doing great. He's been scoring goals. They defeated Man City weeks back. They had 3 goals against Liverpool. So I think Leeds could really put a performance here against Arsenal. I think it's going to be a battle of the coaches here with
That's
Bielsa and Arteta. I think they're two amazing coaches, but it depends who's gonna come up on top.
yeah, both coaches with very go get it, play till the end, and play hard ideologies. Not necessarily ideologies, more uh, mindsets. Ideology is more of a Johan Cruyff type thing, but um, like you said, Leeds very fun to watch. But I also have as one of my impact players this week, my first one for Arsenal, Danny Ceballos, who hasn't done a crazy amount this season. But last season he proved to be a staple in their midfield. Very talented player. I'd say the most I could compare him to is, I guess, Thiago, for formerly Bayern, now Liverpool, but very talented. Love watching him play. And I think even though Arsenal has been inconsistent, Arsenal has had good performances. And I feel like a link between Ceballos and Aubameyang up top, or Lacazette when he plays, even though Lacazette hasn't been playing well either. I think he could be the one that holds it together in a game like this against Leeds, who's not a bad team, but not a great team. Definitely a team that um, someone with the power of Arsenal, with the amazing players that they have and the coaching experience of Mikel Arteta, that they can definitely um, turn around this inconsistency and perform well against Leeds.
Yeah, for sure. I really do think that this is a battle of the coaches here. Um, Arteta, after their, you could say, horrendous performance against Aston Villa,
Mm-hmm.
came out and took full responsibility for the loss. But we've also seen some great Arteta performances. He defeated Man City in the FA Cup last year. They've beaten Liverpool. They've played good games against good teams, but it's just inconsistency is their problem. Are they going to be able to find a consistent form to help them? Because they have a good squad, they have good players, they have a good coach, as we see, but something is just not gelling there, and that's what the issue is. In terms of results, I think that this is going to be a really good game. I think probably out of all the games, this is probably the one that I'm like the least sure about. I think it could really go in either direction. I'm
Mm-hmm.
leaning a bit towards Arsenal because
Mm.
of just Arsenal's experience, but I could really see this game going either way.
So the next game we're going to get into is Liverpool versus Leicester. Liverpool, very injury ridden.
Yeah,
Um, nothing's it
that's
seems
one way to put it.
nothing's going their way this season. You almost feel bad, even though, as you can tell, Javi and I both City fans love Manchester City, but you got to feel bad for Liverpool with all the injuries,
Yeah,
all of the starting back four, correct? They're
yeah, back
um,
four.
and
Robertson.
they're the people who would fill in for their back four. And Mo Salah coming down with COVID-19. Hopefully he feels better soon. I'm sure he'll recover quickly, but still, um, it's
Yeah,
it's terrible. As Jurgen Klopp, I would be the, like, what do I do? Obviously, you
yeah,
have players at the academy level, and you still have Mane, and you still have Firmino, and you still have Diego Jota, but like, it's it's going to be rough for them. It's going to change the dynamic of the way they play because attacking they'll be strong, but in connections to the midfield and the defense, I don't
mm,
know if it's going to be so great for them. And Leicester are in amazing form right now. I think they're are they top of the league right now or second in the league?
I believe they're top of the league right now.
Right. And Vardy, I actually have Jamie Vardy as my second um, player of the week, impact player of the week that I think is going to have a great time because Vardy, a goal scorer, as we know, when
Mm,
he won the league with Leicester a
yeah,
couple of years ago. He's proven that he can score goals. He doesn't miss many opportunities. He takes as many chances as he can get. He's quick and he's dangerous on the ball and off it. His movement and his finishing. So I think he could take complete advantage of Liverpool's defensive issues, despite Liverpool overall having a reputation of a strong team.
yeah, for sure. I think at this point, the more the pressure is on Leicester because when you have as many injuries as Liverpool has, I guess you could say that people aren't really expecting them to win the game. Like we said before, we have a Liverpool squad that's missing Robertson, Van Dijk, Gomez, Alexander Arnold, Salah, Fabinho, Henderson. They're missing the core to their team. So obviously there are still great players left in the Liverpool squad, but I think this is Leicester's game
Yeah,
to lose. So they have to realize that they need to prance on the opportunity that there's not going to be that many times where Liverpool isn't at full speed as in with their full squad. So I think this is really important for Leicester to take the 3 points here, which I think they will.
yeah, I think they will too. But they got to stay right on top of their game. They can't let up, despite playing, even though it's Liverpool, a weakened Liverpool team due
Mm,
to injuries and illness. But I think that'll definitely be one of the games to watch. The other one we'll get to at the end, but I think that'll definitely be a good one to
for
watch.
sure. So next we have Burnley versus Crystal Palace. Yeah, I think Crystal Palace takes the 3 points here, and that has a lot to do with the great play so far from Zaha and Eze.
As
Um,
the free kick,
yeah, that free
absolutely,
kick goal from Eze was beautiful.
that was
Crystal
amazing.
Palace had a great game against Leeds, 4-1 win. And I think that Crystal Palace is that team that people don't necessarily expect too much from, but they're really capable of putting together a great performance. And Burnley is off to a slow start, offensively mostly. They only have 3 goals in their 7 games. So I think it's really important for Crystal Palace to, even though they're away from home, take advantage and get the 3 points here.
Yeah, definitely, like you said, very important for them to take advantage of this because um, even though it's against Burnley, who are off to a very slow start and are, I think, 18th or 19th right now in the league in relegation, as things would stand, um, Palace does have a tendency to turn off
Yeah,
every once in a while. They'll have amazing games. So far, obviously, they've been great. I think they're pretty high. I'm pretty sure they're somewhere between fifth and seventh in the table. But and they have amazing, talented players like Eze and Zaha who have been playing really well. They've been on form, but like I said, they can turn off, and they're known for turning off in winnable games like this. So it's important for them to stay on their game and not lose sight of the goal because they could honestly be um, a top 6, 7 team this season if they continue the way they've been playing.
for sure. I think they have a great coach and a squad that's capable of putting together performances. I think the only question is whether they'll be able to do that. And for our next game, we have Wolves versus Southampton. Now, Southampton is a team that another, I guess you could say, surprising team this year. They've been a goal threat, 16 goals in 8 games so far. They've had some good wins, no losses in their last 5 games. So Southampton is coming into this game in form. Wolves have been a bit questionable so far this year. Something that is for sure is that they do have a great system with a great coach. The only issue is that attacking wise, they haven't been that great. They definitely need to improve if they want to win because they're always going to be a great defensive squad, but offensively, they haven't been too well.
Yeah, I agree. Offensively, they have been at times disappointing this season, and we know it is frustrating to see them struggle because we know that they can do well. And
Yeah,
I actually have um, my third impact player of the week. I tried to keep it out of the um, Tottenham City game. I saw you did because I figured you would.
yeah,
Um, and looking at it, I see we had, if I had to choose one from that game, it would be the same one. But from the Wolves Southampton game, aside from Southampton, like you said, 16 goals in 8 games. Danny Ings looking really dangerous, finishing almost anything that comes his way. I think Wolves, it's about time for them to attack, and I feel like it's going to come for them because Southampton, while they've been amazing going forward, they at times have been questionable at the back, and I feel like Daniel Podence, who's my impact player of the week, my last one, he could have a great impact on this game. Reason being, against Man City, he played really well. He looked really dangerous. His crossing looked dangerous. His dribbling, he won a couple fouls right on the edge of the box. And against a questionably defensive team such as Southampton at times, I think he could take advantage of that, linking up with Adama Traore and Raul Jimenez, who are both very talented players. Raul Jimenez being a really clinical finisher, and has always been for Mexico, as well as Wolves in any club he's played for in his past. I think Podence could link up well with them and be a deciding attacking factor of this game and possibly give Southampton a loss that knocks them back a little bit.
yeah. I think that is definitely a possibility. As I said, attacking wise, Wolves do need to improve, and they're capable of doing so. As you said, with the front three of Potence, Jimenez, and Adama Traore, they're more than capable of scoring goals, going ahead, and the only thing that I think they need is to be more clinical. But with this game, I think Southampton I feel like Southampton has a little bit of an edge considering the
Mhm.
form that they're in.
Yeah,
I'm leaning towards them, but I could see this game going either way.
yeah, for sure. I could see it. Uh, like you said, either way, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be another one to watch. But now, the real game to watch, the match of the week,
Match of the
Tottenham,
week. Our
Manchester
first
City.
ever match of the week.
Tottenham versus Manchester City. Very exciting. As City fans, um, it's going to be a nerve-wracking one.
For
City is away.
sure.
Harry Kane has 7 goals and 8 assists in 8 games, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's
Son with 8 goals so far, and that link up has been it's been deadly
deadly.
the whole
Yeah,
game. But
deadly for sure.
uh,
I think
Tottenham,
Tottenham has
yeah,
like 18 or 19 goals so far this season. So that's 15 of them coming from
yeah,
just Kane and Son. I think Tottenham are a good team, but something that I'm really looking forward to this match is the continuation of the Mourinho and Pep rivalry that
right,
we've seen since the Barca Real Madrid games.
right. And I think it's gonna, um, the Prem takes. There's not as much, in my opinion, there's not as much passion in manager rivalries as
Hmm.
there is in La Liga, like especially in El Clasicos. But
Yeah,
it'll
for
still
sure.
a, a great battle of their systems and the way they play. Uh, if City continue, well, I mean they've been playing all right defensively, but if they continue that and keep playing well defensively with Ruben Diaz, who's been very solid, Kyle Walker, who's been very good, Joao Cancelo, who's gotten back into the team a couple times and played well and done bits on the attacking end.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like if they find a way to shut, I'm sure if I were a fly on the wall in the Man City practice right now, I would hear them talking about ways that they could shut down that Son Kane link up because, as you said, that's 15 of their 18 or 19 goals this season. That's a big part of it. So, are they resting too much on Kane and Son, or is it just the way they play in the system? And I personally think it's mostly the way they play in their system. But if City somehow finds a way to um, lock down Kane or lock down Son's amazing technical ability and link up play, that could be proved to be an issue for Tottenham. As for a score in this game, I'm thinking I think it'll end in a tie. Honestly, it hurts to say another tie on City's end, but I think it'll end in a tie about 2-2 with both of their goal scoring reputations and their talent going forward.
Yeah, defensively, something that has been Pep's issue is having a strong defense. And with the signing of Ruben Diaz and putting Cancelo into the left back position, City have for first time since probably Company left,
Hmm.
they look very very solid in the back.
Yep,
It's crazy to say that a Pep Guardiola team is struggling to score goals.
it
And
is.
I
It's
think that's what the issue is for Manchester City is that they're not clinical enough. They're not taking advantage of the chances that they get. And I think this is what has caused them to have, I wouldn't say poor form, but not the best
without
form that
right,
we expect from a Manchester City team.
right.
I think this game definitely means more to Pep and to Man City. Man
Hmm.
City need this result more than Tottenham does. So I think it'll be interesting to see. City definitely needs to be more clinical, and if they're looking for goals, something that I think they need to do is to start Ferran Torres.
For sure, no doubt.
Ferran
No
Torres had a hat trick on Tuesday versus Germany,
doubt. Hmm.
had an amazing performance. I think that he's a star in the making, and I think that Pep needs to start him.
For
Um,
sure.
I think Mares has been a bit inconsistent this year. You never really know what type of performance you're getting from him. I mean, despite unless he's playing for Algeria, because
Right, because it's
yeah, I don't know if you saw the his
I saw the
goal.
goal.
That touch was
The
just
touch. It wasn't even the goal.
insane.
It
Yeah,
was the touch.
it was a touch. Yeah, that first touch was insane. But I think I would put Torres over Mars in the lineup. I
I
think
would as well. I would as well.
Ferran Torres brings brings something different to City. I think he fits in more into the system than Mars does. I feel like Mars sometimes slows the game down a bit, and I feel like with City being so fast paced, I think Torres would do a better job there. And I think what's gonna bring this whole game together is my third and final impact player, which is Kevin De Bruyne. Um, Anyone who knows me knows how much I love Kevin De Bruyne. I
Mm.
think that he is the best midfielder in the world. I think he's the best player in the world besides Messi and Ronaldo. And I think his performance here is what's going to change the game because we know City's been well defensively. We know Tottenham's been well attacking wise. But I think De Bruyne is going to be that glue that puts City back to where they need to be in terms of this game. In terms of a score prediction, I have 2-1 to City.
That's
I
very
think
safe.
City will be able to pull this victory off. But yeah, it'll definitely be a tough game for sure.
Yeah, and like you said, with Mares slowing the game down, Torres needing to start for sure. Looking at that performance against Germany, who have been having a rough time. Their manager not exactly leading them in the right direction, but either way, against a team with the talent that Germany has, Ferran Torres taking advantage of that and that scoring 3 goals definitely needs to start for City. And if you look at his performances in the Champions League for City, um, the uh, the 2 games that he had 2 goals in a row in, or a goal each in each of those games. He moves the game. He plays like Sterling, except on the opposite side. But
Hmm.
he could fill in on the left side too. Sterling with a bit of an injury problem. I'm not sure if that'll keep him out of the game.
Yeah,
Hopefully it doesn't. But either way, Ferran Torres, he moves the game, and Mahrez likes to slow down. Mahrez likes to dribble, and that worked in a very passing City system. But right now, when we need goals and we're going fast at teams, and that's how we've succeeded this season, Ferran Torres could be the one that pieces that together with Kevin De Bruyne assisting him.
for sure. I think it has to do with City and the way they play. I think in a Manchester City game, if they play to the best of their ability, they're beating anybody in the Premier League.
Hmm.
So I think the issue comes down to what Manchester City are we going to see and if they're going to be consistent or not throughout the game.
Right, because you never know which one you're getting this season, and
Yeah, you really
hopefully they can
don't.
get it on track soon. And it really just comes down to their how clinical they are, and that seems to be the problem with quite a few teams in the league, but mainly City. City's the main. We need to score goals. We need to start being more clinical, or else we aren't going to move out of where we are in the table.
For sure. I think that this will 100% be the best game of the week.
Yep,
Tottenham
I hope
versus
so.
Man City. Great players among both teams, great coaches. And yeah, I think that this is the game to watch. I believe the game is Saturday, 12:30.
I'm not exactly sure, but
Yeah, I think it's 12:30 on Saturday. So for anyone who's interested in a good game of soccer, definitely
yep,
go out and watch this Tottenham Manchester City game.
yep.
But that is the last game. So to conclude, I just want to say thank you to anyone who's listening. Thank you to anyone who's shown support via our YouTube or Instagram page. And we look forward to being here every week or every 2 weeks to give our voices or predictions on things that are happening. Um, this video is going to be out tomorrow when we're recording now, Wednesday. It'll be out tomorrow, Thursday, when you're watching. We hope to get another video out 2 weeks from then, and we hope to see you guys soon. We really appreciate everything that you guys done so far.
Yep, it's much appreciated. Leave anything in the comments. Actually, if you're assuming you're watching this on YouTube, leave your predictions, your notes, comments on how it was, on how do you think we did on our analysis of the upcoming week of games, and yeah, just leave in the comments how you think it was. Spread the word about it. I'm sure plenty of people would like to listen and hear this American perspective on the Premier League that not too many people talk about. A lot of people overlook.
And so, once again, thank you for watching the first ever episode of Premier Perspective.